Hi darlings, this is Corinne and Soulshift channeling, and I'm here with messages today. Let's go ahead and just start with a chit chat, then we'll move into collective message, and then you'll be able to choose, I think, from 4 different readings today. So skip as you need to, and I'm glad to have you back. So what is on my mind and heart today is this concept of better out than in. I feel like there's a lot of astrological happenings right now, and I am not an astrologer, but someone who dabbles in the stars. And the theme that I am seeing, I guess totally exclusive of astrology, I haven't checked the astrology yet, but what I am experiencing is a better out than in. Kind of that uncomfortable place where the transition or the threshold, the shift has already begun to happen. And we are in that period of when you cross over the threshold, when you cross into a threshold, let's say you're coming into a home and you are getting acclimated to a new environment or a new patterning, a new way of doing things. And this can come with a lot of different things. Like if you're coming from when it's like really cold outside and you're coming into a house that is warm and heated, the transition coming from really cold to warm can feel a little too much, can feel too hot, or vice versa. Like you're coming from a hot environment and you're going into an air conditioned space. Like sometimes your skin can hurt almost. Like it's that difficulty at the beginning of the new space and environment. And I feel like that's where we're at right now, whether it's in small microcosm ways, which we'll get into in the reading space, where you can kind of tune into your personal experience and kind of bring something to mind, bring something to your heart, or just explore something that is on your heart, ask a question, and you'll get attuned and tuned information and guidance in that area. But as far as the larger parameter of things, it feels like it's about finding ways to be comfortable, but not just that, but how to remain and stay true to yourself in this new space, in this new experience, and in this new habit and routine pattern that you are not even just setting up now, but that you're beginning to experience. Sometimes when we think of new routines and patterns, we think of needing to build them first or needing to set them up or create a structure. And I'm here to tell you that it's less about that right now and more about just letting be what is, because the new patterning and structuring there's nothing for you to build. There's nothing for you to develop. There's nothing for you to put in place. It's just about responding to the environment and showing up in a way that's authentic to you, that's correct, that's aligned, that feels good in your body, and sussing out the difference between what feels aligned and good in your body and what feels I should say it this way, what feels aligned but perhaps challenging or new or fresh for your body, and what feels bad, out of alignment bad, right? If you're coming into that house understanding like, okay, well, my body is having this reaction now, or if you're leaving the house and you're going out into the world and the wind and the cold air hits you all at once, it can feel like a lot, right? But then your body acclimates. And there's understanding that when you're stepping out into the world, and I guess that's probably the way that it was supposed to go is, well, no, it depends. For different people, it's different things. But when you're stepping out into the world or you're stepping into a world, the personal affront that you're going to be met with at first is jarring and startling, or can be. And understanding the difference, feeling through and sussing out, talking your body through that transition is what we're really going to focus on today. How to show up for yourself, how to stay with who you are, how to inform others of your presence, and how to invite others to meet you. No, let's revise that. And how to play well with others in new spaces. Okay, so glad that you're here. Let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to do 4 different messages today. Red, purple, blue, and yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Red. This feels like a poppy or like a flower with red petals. Red. Purple is, yeah, we're gonna do flowers today. Purple feels like a delphinium, or like if you're not familiar with it, it's a tall stalk that has many little flowers on it, and that feels like a representation of, okay, sorry, we're gonna back up. The red one with 5 petals feels very much like group 1, red, poppy, flower with 5 petals. Feels like you might either have 5 areas of your life, or it's very much a showstopper, like red petals, yellow center. And it feels very like Leo energy, or like you can't miss it. You just can't miss it. Like sticks out like a sore thumb, or bright like a red flag. It doesn't have to have red flag energy, but just kind of like what is it called? Bullfighter energy, where they have the red thing that they switch back and forth. So that's group 1's energy. Group 2, the purple group. Red, purple, green, and yellow. The purple group looks like delphinium. Delphinium is usually blue. It's a tall flower that has many little flowers on it, like a tall stalk, and it feels very much like this. Like you have tall energy, like a centralized stalk. You've either got a lot of different projects going on, or you're supporting a ton of different people. There are a lot of individual blossoms in your life that I feel like you are kind of the center at. Like it feels more like you're the stalk in this experience. You also could be reaching out in every direction. There's also this concept of delayed blooms, like the blooms at the bottom of a delphinium open up before the blooms at the top, the buds at the top. So while you're experiencing some blossoming and even perhaps some decay and decline of blossoms at the bottom that have kind of hit their expiration point, you also have buds that are yet to come. And that should be something that you feel already in your body. Whether you're fine with it or not is another deal, but that's group 2. Group 3, green. Yeah, this feels like that plant emoji, the sprout emoji. The energy I feel for you is like, hey guys, what's happening? What's going on? I just got here. I'm a little bit late to the party. Like it feels like everyone's ahead of you. Very fresh, green behind the ears, or what do they say? Wet behind the ears, very green. Wet behind the ears, young, very tender, but almost like resilient. If you have, I feel like this is like Knight of Wands energy, if you're into tarot, of like kind of like rushing in some cases haphazardly, and just this kind of like big-hearted, like, yeah, I admire this energy because it's very courageous and very brave, and sometimes that courage and bravery is unwarranted, but you've got it anyway, and I love that for you and for me. So that's group 3. Group 4, blue, red, purple, green, and blue. Yeah, this again feels like if you've been with us for a while, that blue square just like, yeah, is pretty steady. So it feels like that blue square. And I hear, you'll notice this is not a flower. And no, it's not, but we'll give it one anyway. And that feels like a hydrangea, like a blue hydrangea. And if you're familiar with a hydrangea, it looks kind of like a pom-pom, like a cotton puff. This feels like you are facing every direction. It is very delicate. It's very, not persnickety, but doesn't hold up well to heat. This feels kind of like who you are, of like, you need a particular environment. You can't get dried out too easily. You like a lot of emotional tending and presence, even if you're not an overly emotional person. Like, I feel like you're very professional and defined, but I feel like, yeah, you kind of have eyes on everything. You might be about presentation. You might be very elegant and more formal. I feel like what you represent to others. They don't always see to the tendermost parts of you, like a hydrangea, the flowers. You can't really see the stems, like the little individual flower stems from the outside, because the flowers are really front facing. So I feel like not many people see your infrastructure, or see or recognize or get to witness, bear witness, or pick at your scaffolding approach, neuropathways, your thought process, your energetic connections. It's not really hidden from folks, but you are very present and known. And this is a really well-liked flower, especially here in the South where I am. Okay, y'all, so that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go ahead and tune into your, I hear blessings, and I'll see you at the right space. We'll likely have a collective message at the very end, but we're gonna see about it. I'm very excited, but this channeling experience has kind of shifted for me. I used to have really strict open close doors, and we are kind of sliding into it in a new way, or I should say crossing the threshold. The threshold has already been crossed, so there we go. All right, group one. All right, my poppies. Okay, the first thing I see for you is just this like stark surprise, or almost just like very wide-eyed energy. This concept of, that emoji that has its like eyes looking to the side, and that feeling of like, did they just say that? Did that just happen? That's kind of what I'm feeling for you right now. I think there's a lot of surprise here. I think it's the kind of thing where it's like, if you step into a room and you like walk into a room at a party and you're like, oh shoot, I just crossed a threshold and I don't know if I can go back. It's almost this like, everyone's looking at me, or like I have definitely been perceived, and there's no backtracking from there. And it's this concept of like, I think you are thinking about what backtracking in this situation would look like, and kind of like preliminarily running through that scenario in your mind, but you already know that that's not a good place to go. This is kind of one of those things where to get beyond is to go through, it's just stepping through all the way. All right, my dears, getting deeper into this message, we're going to talk about how to stay with yourself and how to handle this energy. So the first thing that I'm seeing is like very somatic based, like very touch based, and almost like it feels like you're touching your hand in a certain sequence, or your wrist, or your fingertips. It feels almost as though you are, bear with me because we're going to get energetic here. It's like you're reprogramming your body. It almost feels like you have buttons. Like, how Buzz Lightyear has buttons on his arm? Like he flips open the control panel, and it feels like you have that same information available to you. It feels like whatever self-soothing technique that you use is one that's somatic. It's very personal. It's physical. And it's one that is putting your own medicine back into your own body. We conduct energy and medicine. We give ourselves medicine through our hands. This is why we're supposed to eat with our hands, or why we choose utensils and silverware that are metal will conduct energetics more effectively than plastic forks will. When we lay hands on people, when we, wipe our forehead or like pinch our nose, like we deliver medicine to ourselves all the time with our hands, putting our hands on our bellies after we've had a meal to digest and to deliver any lingering nutrients, or to give additional support in the breakdown, the digestion, and the assimilation of food into our bodies and nervous systems. But I'm seeing there being kind of like a new frontier of how to put energy into your body And it feels very much like from right to left, which can represent a couple of things right now. Oftentimes people will say their giving hand is their right hand and their receiving hand is their left hand. If you align with gender expression and representation in the, would it be called hemispheres of the body? In the sides of the body, masculine is represented with your right hand and the feminine is represented with your left hand, or the giving and the taking, the giving and the receiving. And so it feels very much from right hand to left hand, and it feels very much like on the inside of my arm at least. And it feels like when you are stressed out, like right now it feels like making railroad tracks on your arm, or zigzags, or just pressing buttons. And it feels like this does a couple of things. Like number one, it's hitting a lot of meridians. It's hitting a lot of, if you follow Western or Eastern medicine and acupuncture, it's all about balancing meridians in our body, or energetic pathways that flow through our body. It's very subtle but important, and it can bring you into balance. And what I'm seeing here is, if we go back to this threshold concept, it feels kind of like dialing your temperature in, or dialing your I'm hearing like homeostasis, biostatic homeostasis. And it's like when you're in this transition, it's like, yeah, you need to change your conditions a little bit. Like if you walk inside to outside or outside to inside, those transition lenses, or like you might need to take your sunglasses off and take your hat off, or put your sunglasses on and put your hat on. You might need to bundle up, take your coat off, do all these different things to kind of dial it in. This is kind of what we're doing here. Like, I feel that your body will naturally and intuitively give itself the medicine that it needs to just hit your meridians in the right way. If you are familiar with acupuncture and you are familiar with meridians, and you want to play with elemental, like you can get more fine-tuned if you want. If we're talking about needing more metal or less wood, or like you can use different elements to bring things into balance. It's not my area of expertise yet in this life, but that's the intuitive information that I'm getting. So if that is your wheelhouse, or if you're interested in that wheelhouse, that's something that you should be invited forward to step into. All right, and then I'm hearing some of you wanting a little bit more clarity and guidance on like what you're doing here. And the first thing that I hear is like you're just meant to observe. You're not invited to participate just yet because it's not the right time for you. But I don't think that you're in this environment to shift, change, participate, as much as you're here to gather information, data, and resources. Because I do feel like you are a mole of some sorts, and in multiple ways. Like a mole means an undercover person, right? Or like someone who's reporting back. And you do feel like kind of like a divine, or at least an energetic mole of like you're feeding and siphoning out. You're getting information to where it needs to go. And I don't think you might not. Yeah, you do know where it's going to. And the important part here is that it's being used for good. We have this negative connotation and negative association with moles. And yeah, when they're being used to dismember, disempower, and to overtake sovereign states, it's not so great. And when they are in place in service of administering correct medicine to an environment, it's very much desired, and it's very important when we talk about cultures and when we talk about I'm being shown like an endoscopic thing where doctors kind of go in with a scope and a light to see the insides of someone's intestines because something's wrong, something's going on. That's the kind of mole that you are. And going along with that mole thing, the other part of being a mole is like the actual animal, a mole. And they can't see super well, but they have like the most insane number of, I don't know if it's nerve endings or it's like however you have a sense of smell, like their noses are insane. I don't think there's actually anything in the animal insect in the living world that has the same kind of scent capabilities as a mole does. And then they tunnel and they burrow. So this concept of being like very perceptive, really being able to pick on the most minute details, and not just even pick up on minute details, but quantify them too. It's almost like you can walk into an environment and you can say, oh yes, we have 60% of this here and 40% of fear there and 80% of resilience here. And it's almost like you become a mix master of sorts of being able to intelligently receive and transmit, relay this information, but also do a lot of integration before it even gets to where it's going of what's possible and what you have to work with. It's kind of like if someone came into your kitchen and just like took a peek in all the cabinets and saw the ingredients that you already had and are like, okay, well, based on what you have here, these are 5 or 6 different good options for dinner that we could make. And if you want to go to the store, like this is what I would recommend to get, you know? So you're very much a frontier person who's going into an environment. So your focus is less on delivering the solution and more on getting the information, understanding, and preliminarily synthesizing that information, organizing, categorizing, and then kind of like delivering the report. Okay, y'all, I hope that answers a little bit of what you're doing here, / like why it's happening, and gives you some tools to keep yourself calm and to kind of like dim the lights or like change the environment, like come acclimate to the environment that you're stepping into so you can do your job or you can perform the execution of your skills as pleasantly and enjoyably and delightfully as you can. All right, thank you, group 1. Check in at the end for a little bit of a close up, and I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for coming today. All right, group 2, Delphinium babies, purple group. And I'm hearing like purple nurple and like seeing the purple Wendy's. Was it Wendy's or McDonald's? The purple blob thing, and like the eggplant emoji, and yeah, a lot of mischievous energy happening here. Mischievous energy, and it feels like unbalanced. It feels unbalanced. Yeah, it feels unbalanced. All right, so we're going to check in on where you are at right now. I do feel like you're very like planted or rooted or centered in yourself. I don't think that you are like, as far as crossing the threshold before, it feels like you have been in the room for a while, and it's almost like beanbag energy, like this like weebles wobble but they don't fall down, this like kind of fat bottom, skinny top, wide bottom, narrow top. I just don't feel like you're very mobile right now. I don't feel like you can move. I don't think you're meant to, but I also see that your mind is having a difficult time staying still. staying in one place. And I'm recognizing that the challenge that you're receiving right now is the need or want to dissociate from your form, or this curiosity. This could also be like astral travel, or this could be projection of self into a different room. It's like not right now. The lesson that you're supposed to be learning is bringing things to you. There's a reason why your mass is so large at the bottom, right? There's a reason why your plantedness is so firm in the environment. It's because the greater the mass, the greater the gravitational attraction. And I mean, I don't know if this actually counts. I think the gravitational attraction for us is so small in relation to the mass of the planet that we probably don't feel this stuff, but there is something to be said for a greater mass having a deeper capacity to draw one into us. And you're not doing it right if you're trying to go out and go out and go out, and to leave your body and to go get people and to go get things and to go get resources and to go get. That's not your job or problem. You're meant to be home base. You are home base. It's like you want people to be coming to you. If everyone's playing tag, you're a home base. And back to the delphinium stem, you do have this ability, like you have ports or you have blossoms available in all directions. You have access points available in all directions. It's not like you're just a front facing or a one-way facing flower. You have fresh things to offer people coming from every direction, which is very cool. It's part of why you have such a strong, centered, like unbendable, unshakable stalk. It's not that you are indestructible, because delphinium is actually, I don't know, as far as go, I guess it's normal delicacy. But as far as concepts go, a flower is not what we would think is the strongest thing. Like a tree, like in the natural world, it's not like the strongest thing out there. But what you do have going for you is that you're well balanced. And I know that you were just saying, that I was just saying before, that it's out of balance. I think that you recognize other habits and patterns, perhaps compare yourself to others, and you feel out of balance. You perceive how others do things or how you are in relation to your environment, and it's out of balance, I'm hearing. But as far as who you are in your role, you have a lot to offer, number one, and you're actually very well balanced, very attuned. I do feel like there might be people who come to you who are like, well, this is rotten, or this is not available yet, like it's not finished yet. People may come to you asking things and being like really zippy about what you have to offer them, and if it is in their right time. And it's like, I'm here to tell you, like, bullshit. If they've got a problem with it, their approach is not correct. And I'm not saying this in every area of your life forever and always, but right now, if someone has a problem with you, it is not your job or problem. Like, you are centered, you are aligned, you have things on the table. And if they're coming to you asking for something different, their timing is off. Their timing is incorrect. Their timing is incorrect. Their approach is incorrect. Their decision to approach you as opposed to someone else is incorrect. Yeah, you are in perfect timing, and your timing is aligned to the integrity of your being. So I don't really think you have a lot to learn there. Your timing is set. The rhythm is clear. Okay, now as far as like what you're supposed to be doing, like what's your purpose and role at this point in time in life? I hear just be who you are. But also like reach to God, reach to the light, reach the this ask to like continue to invest and seek out clarity and guidance that is attuned to you, that's in proper form and in correct perception. Because part of how you became so straight and aligned is by seeking the light. You really, and I'm reminded of a tulip poplar tree, which is one of my favorite trees. They're incredibly old. They happen in 2 places on the globe, and it's in the Appalachian Mountains and in the Himalayas. And it's because during one of the ice ages, like the earth was covered up, the seed banks were crushed, but it was where plates smushed together that we have these 2 mountain ranges. And it's, I don't know, like when that happened, or that's part of how those seed banks were unearthed again, were preserved and then unearthed again. So these, they popped up in 2 areas of the world, which is just like very cool. But the whole point of these trees, or the whole point of mentioning these trees, is you can be in a forest in southern Appalachia and you can spot them because they are so straight. They're so up and down. It's like you didn't even, yes, all trees grow pretty much perpendicular to the ground, but you see these ones and they are just like so perfectly around, so perfectly formed, and very tall, very stately, very just like direct. And I feel like this is you. I feel like you have direct access to the divine. I feel like you do not get confused. You never really got confused about, I'm hearing Christianity, but about your information and guidance. Like, yeah, maybe when you were very young or you were a seedling, you had different breezes moving you, but you have been very steady and spot on in your divine connection ever since that point in time. And so I think that is your role. You almost are like a lightning rod or like a stay post, or I don't know if that's even a word or a concept, but the concept is like a study guide. It's almost like a maypole's up and down, and all the people dance around the maypole. But the whole concept is to like get in rhythm, to get in time, to get in tune, to get in touch, to get in your perpendicular alignment. And so your only job and role is to stay where you're at and to practice perpendicularity with the planet, to practice your divine channel, to practice your divine connection, to continue to arch and reach for that which nourishes you and feeds you, like to continue to receive manna from the heavens. That's your role. You don't need to have eyes on anyone else. You don't need to be checking anyone else's papers. You don't need to be giving anyone else direction, because your process and your procedure and your execution of all these things, of this habit and pattern, is what informs others. And that is what gives them the tools, the power, the strength, the inspiration, and the ability to match you in their own divine right, because they are going to find their own routine, path, rhythm of alignment. Other people are different kinds of trees, and pines grow up and down and are also very straight, and they're never going to look like a tulip poplar tree because they just aren't. That's not who they are. But when you are growing straight up and down in a forest, it helps others to grow straight up and down too, because you're not blocking their view, you're not blocking their canopy, you're being integritous. And so it allows other people to match your frequency, to match your energy, and to also feel in their bodies how good it feels when they do it. Because I do feel like the people around you are informed enough that they are in tune with their body's functioning and rhythm, to the point that they can feel when it feels right and they can feel when it feels wrong. and they need some space and guidance in their own right and from their own communities and their own resources to kind of help them through those times when it feels right and it feels wrong. You don't need to guide them. You just need to be who you are. Okay, group three. All right, my loves, group three. I know that was an abrupt end from group two. Sorry, guys, but this is what we're rolling with. Stay along or catch back at the end, but right now we're tapping into group three. You guys are the little emoji sprout. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm seeing. If you know that green sprout emoji, it's got like the stalk and then the two leaves on either end. And what I'm feeling here is that there's almost rot, or the threat of stagnant water, the threat of stagnant emotion, energy, stuff that's not well drained. Just like, you know how captured water can just kind of get, it can just grow. It's a mosquito breeding pond, right? When water sits, it's like that attracts the things that, yeah. And we love mosquitoes and we love what they do because they do some good things, even though sometimes they really piss us off. But this is what I'm hearing for you right now, is almost like I hear you holding emotional stagnancy that is not serving you, and not only does not serve you, but is not serving others well. Granted that plants can't get eaten or bit by mosquitoes, but your service is, you are in service to humans. As far as the threshold goes, which is what we were talking about at the beginning, and I feel like you're taking stuff into the new space that does not belong. You are taking stagnant water inside that has been outside, and no go. No, thank you. I need you to put it down. Whatever is in your body that has not been flushed. This feels almost like parasite cleanse vibe. But more so than that, like an emotional cleanse, because parasites only find our bodies when there is emotional stagnancy. I'm not a healthcare professional. Use your best judgment here, okay? But I'm hearing that parasites find us when our water forms are conducting the right environment for them to land and sustain themselves in. And that is one that is not cleaned regularly and that sits dormant for long periods of time. I don't want your water body to sit dormant for any period of time, really. It's like a river. It's a river. Our energy bodies are like rivers. They should always be flowing. Yes, there is value to finding such stillness that you can see your own reflection. And I'm not trying to say not to do that, but I'm saying that even in that stillness, there is still, I'm hearing a mesic flow. I think mesic means between two spaces. Like mesic and interstitial go together. It's like the place where your insides are connected to your outsides. There's still energy being channeled through that space, through the connection point. And so I feel like if you're on the threshold, it does feel like you're on the threshold. You're on threshold now, because I don't feel like you actually have stepped all the way in or all the way out, whichever way that you're going. But I do feel like you are standing and staying on the threshold, and I feel like you might be a little bit frustrated or perturbed with yourself because you're like, well, what the heck? Why can't I step all the way in? Or why can't I go all the way through? Like, why am I stuck here? And there's something inside of your body that's telling you to wait and to dump out, to put down, to give way, to give away that which you're no longer meant to hang on to. Okay. Yeah. Dang, sometimes the stuff comes in and I'm just like, oh shoot, that's where it's at. Okay. Yeah, sometimes things hit in your own life when we do this. Anyway, but you are very well positioned because you are in a spot where you can just bend and tip over and all that water just pours out. You're in a spot where you could, like, and I'm seeing down dog, or like literally inverting your body. And yoga is a beautiful practice to do that in, but it's almost like it's like things are just held up in your noggin and you just need to pour them out. So I do feel like, as far as the physical prescription, or like the tangible takeaways, or the homework, if you will, that can help support and remedy this and help you work through it, is to literally invert your body, but just to allow all of those brain thoughts and patterns to just exit. Just let go from your body. And just like you would dump water out of a container, or like in the plant, right? If you would move the plant so then it could just kind of like dump the water out. I do feel like there's this almost like residue or slime, or like, I don't know, like if you have a bucket of water that's been sitting outside for a while and you dump it out, like, it's not going to be pristine and clean, right? Even after the water's all gone. And this connects into why it is and what it is that you're doing here. Because that's the next question for all the groups, is like, what are you doing here? What's the job? What's the task? What's happening? What are you supposed to be doing? And I'll tell you what I do see. I see like a cat coming up to like lick this residue. Which is so bizarre to me. But it almost feels like, I don't know, the cat doesn't, there's something important there, right? It's like a cat's not gonna lick a, what is it called? Algae covered container. But when the cat tastes that, it's kind of probably gonna be like, ugh, and then I see it like licking its paw to get the taste or the flavor out of its mouth, right? And stay with me. It's almost like a good thing, because I see you stepping into a space and it's like you're allergic to cats, right? You don't want cats sitting on you or touching you or whatever. And if they have this experience where they go to you and they're like, ugh, I don't need to be eating that. I don't need to be putting that in my body. They'll have a respectful distance. And it's just this sort of thing, right? So I feel like you're coming into a space and for whatever reason, you're going to be off-putting to someone, or like you're not going to be someone's flavor. You're not going to be someone's taste. And that is okay. It's actually going to save you so much headache in the long run, and so much headache later, when you are not going to have to fend off or set boundaries with this person in a particular way. Because it's really not your job to do, because the way that you are operating is on a far more subtle and well-informed level, and those that are not able to see that are the ones that are going to be challenging your boundaries and your edges. And their education process is not meant to be coming from you. It comes from other people. It comes from others. You, however, are meant to be working with, not like I'm seeing like snails in this bucket, in this container, on this plant, right? Where this like algae residue stuff, like there are other animals that love that stuff, that eat algae. Like algae is basically like a super tiny plant. It's not technically a plant, I don't think, but it has chlorophyll, which is what makes plants green, and which is what builds energetic building blocks from sunshine, right? So there are other more subtle insects and species and things that can use this freshly minted energy template for fuel. And so perhaps the environment that you're stepping into, you've got not two classes, you've got multiple iterations or echelons of development, which is very cool. It is very cool to be in an environment where not everyone is the same, where people are at different stages and parts of growth. That's really what life is all about. That's an ecosystem, that's an environment. It's actually quite unnatural to have a classroom full of second graders and assume and require that they're all learning the same thing at the same time in the same way. That's just, it's not natural. It's not the way that it's done. It should be far more dynamic than that. You are going to have, if you have a classroom of people in similar developmental, if you know Montessori, this is part of how they do it, of you've got first, second, and third graders in a class all together, because developmentally they're going to be learning similar things, but it's not so precise, right? You can have some advanced third graders and advanced first graders and third graders who are later on something in one subject area, and you can meet that need, and then they can be different in a different subject area. Like, you're in a pretty dynamic environment, and it's important for you to be able to interact with and pass on the information, like contribute what you're carrying, the algae, to those who are developmentally ready and well matched for it, right? Which is not going to be cats. It's going to be slugs and snails and stuff like that. Those who are very sensitive, have very porous skin, are perhaps needing nourishment on that level that cats just can't, like, they're not gonna, cats have dander and claws and not algae, you know? Even their poop is not going to feed a snail and a slug in the same way, but it might in a different way. You know, I hope you understand. I hope you understand this well, because the point is that you're in a dynamic environment. You have something to offer. It's only available if you get rid of your icky feelings, mental trappings. But once you do, allow yourself to be appreciated, understood, and approached by some without the expectation that you're going to interact that same way with all. You're going to have different kinds of connections within the environment that you're in, and that is okay. It does work out in your favor. And to know that as a little plant, while you might have slugs and things like that are really learning from you well, you might be really benefiting from that cat walking by you and just like rubbing up against you, you know? That's helpful. It's going to strengthen your stalk. You know, like sometimes plants, it's good to like shake them around a little bit. Like I hear that it's like nice to, you know, it's like they're out in the open. It's like they're out in the wild. Because if they're in a static environment and they're not getting moved around, they don't develop the same kind of structure and the strength. And so that's what the cat can do for you, right? It's not supposed to be eating the algae off of you. It's supposed to be strengthening you in really important and valuable ways. And the sooner you can see that and release the cat from approaching you like a snail would, and appreciate the cat for brushing by you in the way that they do, the better for all of you, you know? Yeah, quite a dynamic experience that's going on right now, like a lot of different things moving. All right, anything else? Yes. What should you do once you get inside? Because I do feel like you're going from outside to inside. And just like a potted plant, find a nice window and sit in your spot. You might need to move a couple of times, like you might need to shift a little bit. And you know where you're meant to be. We know that plants are meant to see the sun. And we know that that's where they're meant to receive information from. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll leave that up to you. Okay. And the last thing I hear is like, and if anyone tries to put baby in the corner, and I'm seeing someone take a plant to like the darkest corner of the room, and there's not much you can do other than wither. But even if your primary plant keeper is not one who's attuned to plants withering very well, I feel, rest assured, they will have company over soon that will put that plant in proper position. So don't get too caught up. All right, my loves. Check in at the end for a collective message, and thank you for being here today. Best of luck. You know where to find me if you need to, or if you don't, just look below. And I'll see you next Wednesday, every Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. All right, group four, hi. All right, let's see here. So we are in that structured, I love me my blue square group. I don't know if you guys are all the same every time or not, but it has been consistent. And I'm hearing that is really valuable and important to you, is consistency. I mean, like, that makes sense. As far as talking about the flower metaphor at the beginning, there is the consistency and repetition in the different blossoms in the face of a hydrangea. There's subtle difference, but you're very much, it's like, it feels like mass produced or repeatable production, reliable, consistent. I feel like you show up in the same way every time. This is something that people value you for, is they know what they're going to get when they see you. And I feel like this has become a little bit heavy and overburdened. I think you need to be able to show up a little bit more of you as you are, without fearing external pressure and external presence. I'm hearing it's time to be a lot more like delphinium as far as blue flowers go. The whole delphinium thing was that some blossoms are open, some are closed near the top, and some at the very bottom have like already expired or are on their way out. And it's really beautiful because here, you're asking us to change who we are? No. I'm asking you to accept yourself as who you want to become. I don't think you want to save face or show face or just be a face. I don't think you are wanting to have this mask experience that I think that you have grown very weary and tired and like heavy behind. I don't think that's what you want. If that is what you want, then by all means continue going on and doing that thing. And I think you're looking for permission to bloom in your own time. I think you're looking for permission to disappoint some people. And I think you're looking for permission to hold out for the experience that you're really looking for. And you get to have all of that. Now, as far as the threshold and the transition that we were talking about before, I think you know where you want to go. I think you are, for this group in particular, I think you are there, you're just not inside it yet. I feel like you're standing outside and you're just like leaning in, or like you're standing inside and you're just like leaning out, looking outside, looking at everything out there, and you're leaning over the threshold, and it's almost like the people from the outside can see you. Your body is already halfway out the door. Your just feet aren't in it yet. And it feels very much like the lunar landing, or taking one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And it feels very much like that energy, in a lineage way, or in a self way, like selves way, like whatever threshold you're at and stepping into the world, the space that you're at. Yeah, it's one tiny step, it's one tiny move or motion, but it's a big fucking deal for all of the versions of you that have ever existed, and for all of the ancestors, past, present, and future, who are counting on you to show up for yourself in this moment. I don't think that you have been acting as much of who you are as what you're meant to become. I have a feeling that you're really a delphinium, and you're like curled up in a ball trying to be I hear Pomeranian, trying to be what is it called? A hydrangea. And sometimes when we're limited in height, when we are limited by the space that we're growing in, we do tend to curl up into ourselves and try to get smaller. But it's like growth is growth is growth is growth. You're going to continue to expand, even if you're trying to take up less space. So I would love to, the whole point of all of this is to use your words and to ask for it. I need you to ask for what you want and choose who you'd like to become. Because the response that you're going to get is a resounding, yeah, hell yeah, like come in, come on, welcome, we've been waiting, like come join, we have a spot for you, you want to come sit, like let's make space, you know? The macrocosm that you're willing to step into is one that values your presence and rhythm and pace and time. Okay, as far as what you're supposed to be doing in the environment, because yes, you're there, but you're not there yet, right? And I think that you're not there yet is not physical, but it's mental. And the task that you're really meant to do is to clear your mind. And to also to not clear your mind and like keep it swept clean, but to allow your mind to be like one of those bird condos. I don't know if you've ever seen them. I feel like they're for a particular type of bird that usually travels in flocks, but it's like a bird motel. It's like a lot of different bird rooms for rent. And to just let birds come and go as you please. And I hear like there's shit on the floor, like they're just loud and chirpy and make a lot of commotion, but it's like the most pleasant. It's pleasant. It's pleasant presence. And they flit here and they flit there and they don't stay for long, you know. And when they do nest down and hunker in, they really make the space cozy. So just allow your mind to be open to new thoughts and ideas. Allow them to come and to go, and allow the ones that want to stay to build a nest and a friendly, comfortable, cushy environment to be well supported. All right, I think that's it. Closing this all up for everyone. The last thing I see is just rhythm, habit, pattern, consistency, presence. And it feels more like feeding into yourself and nourishing yourself over and over and over and over and over again in not huge ways, right? This is not a dump bucket. It's more like waterboarding. Just like a friendly drop here and there. It's about putting putting lotion on your hands, and I'm hearing like unbuttoning your tie, like loosening your tie, like not just like small adjustments that can make such a big change, and that just remind your physical form and your body over time and through the day that it's loved, it's wanted, it's nourished, it's well taken care of, and it has an open door to make additional requests, period. And that's the most important part, is where we're at right now is building deeper relationships, building a deeper relationship with our bodies for them to know that they can continue, and they can step forward and ask more of us, because when we show up for our bodies, and when we show our bodies that we have excess and the ability to nourish and care for them, that's when we build this kind of relationship where new gifts come online, right? Where new abilities, where new skills, new developments can occur that our soul wants for us, and that require our physical form's presence and ability to really bring through. So thank you guys so much. I'm so happy to have you. Always happy to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I might not respond right away, but I will see it and see you. And yeah, I'm very thankful. If you find this work helpful, let me know. And if you are looking for a more deeper personal connection with your divine presence and want a co-navigator or a coach or an energetic guide or a witness, some recognition and presence, that is what I do. And I would love to do that for you. So find me at soulshiftchanneling.com on the web, or on Instagram and Facebook. And I will see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.